Gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Whistle Talk. Mike D, the referee, coming at you here from a sunny New Jersey. I got to say today, if you could see, if you have a good camera and you're watching it, my forehead got sunburnt today, and I'm excited for that. Even though I should be wearing sunscreen, don't go by that. But I'm just excited because the sun was actually shining today. Thank you, good Lord. Anyway, I digress. Let me get back here to the podcast. But yeah, joining me tonight, we got Kurt Sampson. Kurt, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on tonight.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So, Kurt, let me go through my quick podcast spiel, and then I'll let you dive into your background and what our topic is tonight. So, ladies and gents, really quick, if you're enjoying the show, do me a favor, hit those subscribe buttons, give me the thumbs up, the thumbs down, the middle finger, all those fun things. I got thick skin. I'm good. It helps people find our podcast, and that's what we're looking to do. That's why Kurt's jumping on with us tonight too, because we're trying to spread the good word about what we do in the officiating world. And tonight we're going to be talking a little bit flag football and all that fun stuff, the explosion of flag football that's going to be going on. So if you're driving, don't do those things now. Wait until you get stopped and hit those things on your device that you're listening to us on. And if you know anybody that would be interested in the show, share it out with them. Don't forget, find it on the YouTube channel, hit those subscribe buttons. And last but not least, we got to give a shout out to my friends at B2B. Let me pull up their link here. Battlefields to Ball Fields. If you know anybody that's a veteran, which my friend Kurt tonight is one of those veterans who kind of went through this program, so we're going to give them a plug. But Battlefields to Ball Fields, the number 2 in between.org. If you know anybody that's a veteran and wants to get involved in officiating with all sports, not just football, send them that way. Send them to the guys at B2B. Great people there. So, with that all being said, Kurt, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm spectacular. Again, thanks for having me on. I'll echo your recognition for all veterans out there. B2B, Battlefields to Ball Fields, Vets to Refs. My support from Mike Pereira and Bill Kruper, the rest of the team has been spectacular. I'm currently active duty, but I'm looking to transition from the military soon. And I've gotten back into the game for the past 2 seasons, multi-sports, jumping into boys and girls lacrosse this year. But I've done football here and there. It's just hard to find time when you're in an active duty. But my boss at work has been great and allowing me to get on the field. It's tough balancing each. And so I'm looking forward to doing it more full time. Obviously, I'll do it outside of what might be my day-to-day thereafter. But again, it's a natural flow to transition from the military into officiating, and I hope you all do it too.
Well, Kurt, I would be remiss if I didn't start off with our conversation by thanking you for your service. For all the men and women that are out there, truly, truly appreciate everything that you have done for us and are continuing to do for us, keeping my family safe, keeping me in my nice, cushy office that I'm sitting in right now, being able to walk outside and looking at that sunshine, all those fun things. So truly, truly love and appreciate the men and women in our military, active service, veterans, top to bottom. So thank you once again.
Absolutely. She's worth our defense.
Nice. So, as I mentioned before, tonight, Kurt and I are going to be talking a little bit about some flag football that we got going on now. Next week, I think, is our first games here in New Jersey, talking about the NFHS rule book here that I've pulled up, and the 2026 flag football season. Kurt's going to be able to give us a nice perspective from a collegiate level too. You're working some collegiate games, correct?
That's right. The season just started up here in East Carolina, multiple states, of course, too, but really getting in the swing of things and really enjoying it. It's a big learning curve for everybody, but everyone's out there really motivated.
Awesome. Yeah, and I was just talking with somebody, and they were mentioning how one of their girls got a full scholarship to a college down in Florida. So I mean, it's growing for a reason. It's growing on all levels. So seeing it that you're working the collegiate game, that's awesome. So For tonight's episode, we are going to be focusing on the NFHS rulebook, and Kurt and I are going to discuss some different things, and then Kurt's going to be able to jump in, and we're going to talk about what might be a little bit different. I know we're going to also talk about how states have the ability to modify some of the stuff. Here in New Jersey, we're still a year away from it being a full sanctioned varsity sport. Right now, it's still technically considered a club, but we're going with the NFHS rulebook. And this year, the officials are being trained. We are treating this as a varsity sport. So we're going to officiate it as a full varsity sport the same way we would officiate in the fall season on a Friday night or Saturday afternoon. So it's going to be taken with a different level of seriousness here in New Jersey to ramp up for next year, where I know Florida, for example, I've got some video clips from Florida because, well, they're warmer and they've already started their season, but they're kind of going with the same thing that New Jersey is this year with some of the rules adaptations that they've gone with. All right, so what we're going to cover tonight, we're going to talk about the field, and I want to preface this. I stole this PowerPoint. I stole this slide. This is from the NFHS, and I kind of tweaked it to this episode tonight. But this is not anything that I've pulled out of my own big brain or sunburned head, I should say. But I'm piggybacking off of them and utilizing the association, the federation's rule book. So tonight we're going to go over the field, basic equipment, the timing of the game, punting. And I know, Kurt, we mentioned before we started about kickoffs. Some states are doing kickoffs. Here in New Jersey, we are not doing kickoffs. We're going to talk about scoring. Then we're going to talk about some blocking and some different types of fouls. And then I have in here, if we have time, the overtime procedure. And I know, again, each state's going to be a little bit different when it comes to the overtime procedure, just like it is for the fall football. It's a little bit different. So a lot of stuff that I'm going to be talking about. You're going to see the NFHS, and then you're going to see some New Jersey tweaks that are going with it. So let's start off with the Rule 113. The game is played with 7 players on each team, but if the team has no substitutes to replace an injured or disqualified player, let's get at the disqualified players. Let's just stop with that. It may play with no fewer than 5 players on the field. So again, just like we have on the Friday night stuff, there's adaptations that you can do. Now, this is going to be difficult, but the good thing with this is there's no illegal formation. So we don't have to worry about 5 in the backfield or things like that because there's no illegal formation. So it's just going to be, it might end up being a lopsided game, though, if you're playing 5 versus 7. All right. Kurt, I'm going to take this one. Actually, I'll let you take this one if you don't mind, and then I'll jump in with how New Jersey kind of adapted some of these rules.
Yeah, absolutely. The state association adoptions from the table you see here, some of them cover some of the administrative things for sure, but some of them specifically tackle some of the rule changes. I don't know which ones you wanted to highlight specifically, but the first one, you can see some of the administrative designate the field dimensions as officials, determine the number of game officials. We do 4 in the CFFO. I've played youth, or I've called youth, where there's only 2 officials. Pretty tough with 2. And then you can see 3 across the board for most leagues. How many are you all tending to move towards?
So right now, to my knowledge, we're sticking with 3 this year. I don't know if New Jersey is looking to go to 4 next year, but as we do with 7-on-7s and things like that, when you're getting an 80-yard field, it's tough to have 3 people being able to see everything. So ideally, they would look to go 4.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we have 4, we have a referee obviously behind the line. We've got a line judge, and they have the box. We've got a side judge, which is kind of like a head linesman, but they're about 10 yards down the sideline, opposite of the line judge. And then we've got a back judge also. The difficult thing that I've noticed in 4-man mechanics, 4-person mechanics, is who's spotting the ball. And it's a little bit different each time, but typically it's the back judge.
Okay.
We're trying to clean that up and make sure it's easier, but I'd prefer you on the field, Mike, at ump and putting that ball where it needs to be.
Yeah. The mechanics that we're going to be utilizing this year in New Jersey is a little bit different to my knowledge. I think they're going to have two at the line of scrimmage and one in the offensive backfield, and then kind of alternate on who's going deep depending on how the play is playing out. So, to my knowledge, we're kind of using two short wings and then going from there. But obviously, it's not a strict passing league. It's not 100% passing, but I would say you're looking at a solid 90% of the time the ball's going to be being thrown downfield. They do run the ball in this game. So again, it's a little bit more traditional in that aspect. As opposed to the true 7-on-7. This is flag football, so it's not 7-on-7. So we got to get that misnomer out. So one of the big things, and I clicked on to the next slide here, is the New Jersey adaptations to that previous table. So the one thing that's right on Jump Street is going to be the field. The NFHS rulebook has basically 3 different fields dimension-wise that the state can choose from. And here in New Jersey, we're going with what would be diagram 1, which I have on the next slide. But basically, you're going to a 20, to the 40, to a 20, to the goal line. So that's kind of how it's going to be laid out. We're not using any type of goalposts. We're not using any type of kicking tee because there are no kick extra points as of now. There are talks about that, and the same thing for the goalposts. So there are different discussions with that. And here in New Jersey, they're using the one-piece quick release belt, which this year they're still allowing 2 flags, but again, kind of getting it ready. Budgetary wise, with all the new schools, they're going to allow, at least in my area, 2 flags on the hips. But ideally they want to get to 3 flags. And I think we're allowing both the belt that comes detached or the flag that comes detached. I know, again, when I show those clips, the ones in Florida, it's the full belt that comes off when it gets pulled. So the flags itself don't come off. Kurt, what are they using in the collegiate level?
You'll see the belts that attach around their waist and they pop off.
Okay.
So 2 flags, like you said, on the side. But even the teams are working through some of their uniform discrepancies, right? Some of them will have they'll have stripes on their shorts, and then you can't see the flag. A lot of the players aren't wrapping that tail away, and so that looks like a flag also. So everyone's working through it and making sure that the publications are edited throughout. But you'll see the discrepancies across the board, and we'll figure them out.
Yep. And that's more so because of the infancy of the game. And like I said, the NFHS allowed a lot of different adaptations for the state to kind of tweak for this year. But I know ultimately their goal is to have some type of universal set standard. And I think that's what they've done this year with the book. But again, it's still in their infancy too of putting together that book. And as we know with all the sports, you get a couple months outside of the season and all of a sudden you're getting the rules changes for 2026, rules changes for 2027. So they're always looking to adapt and modify to improve the game.
For sure.
So here is the diagram that I was talking about before of the football. So this is diagram 1, as you can see on the right side of the screen, diagram number 1. I kind of just turned this sideways so that you could see from left to right. You've got end zone, 20, 40, 20, end zone. End zones are 10 yards deep, so that still maintains the same. You've got a 3-yard line and a 10-yard line because right now you have 2 options on a 1-point conversion or a 2-point conversion. So that's going to be 3 and 10-yard line choices. And then you see a 14-yard line X. There are no kickoffs. So the beginning of any new series after a score is going to start at that 14-yard line. Now, here in New Jersey, we're keeping the ball dead center. We're not going hash to hash. So I know, again, I'm watching some videos on the NFHS channel from different states because I'm trying to learn and see how teams are adapting to everything. Some states are going hash to hash. So again, that's an adaptation that the state of New Jersey said, no, we're going to keep the ball straight down the middle. How are they doing that with the college level?
Gosh, I like that, Mike. It makes it simple if they just put it right there in the middle. But college level, they'll have choices, similar choices as they do in high school. Fair catch, obviously not kickoff, start of a series, overtime tries. And that makes it difficult, especially for with penalty enforcement, right? So the penalty in the near side of the end zone could make the snap different, or the spot different on the next snap. So the players are working through that too. They largely don't have a huge preference every time we've asked them.
Mm-hmm.
We usually just see them have it in the middle of the field. But you'll see on 1 or 2 point tries, especially the 2 point tries, sometimes they have a preference there because they're probably putting together some kind of formation, trips left, something like that.
Yeah, some type of rub route or something like that
Right.
to screen somebody open. The legal pick play, not the illegal pick play, but the legal pick plays. Uh, yeah, so that and it's again it's the same thing. Typically, for the fall game, the kids don't know, and we know after a touchback where we're going to go with the ball. I'm just placing it at that 20-yard line, and if a coach before we get the ready for play, if a coach is like right hash now, all right, I'm going to move it over to the right hash for you, but typically we're just putting it right down the middle and going from there. But so now you see again with this field, this is the ideal paint markings that we're looking for on the grass fields. Now I know we're not at a point yet where we have strict flag football fields. And again, because of the different state adaptations, it makes it a little bit difficult, especially when you get on those turf fields. So they want us to use in New Jersey, they want us to use the little pop ups for the downs so that the 40-yard line for some fields could actually be the 50-yard line. It's just midfield. And then your end zone could be from the 10-yard line to the goal line, different things like that. So they want us to use the pop-ups so that everybody knows what line it is that we're looking for. And they're also really trying, they're not forcing it on us yet, but they're really trying to get us to use the down markers for first downs because, again, when you got the turf fields where you got multiple lines going across the fields, some kids might not realize that they got to get to the 50, also known as the 40, to get that first down or whatever it may be. Now, how big is the field for the college level? Are they going full 100 yards or is it 80 yards?
No, same thing here, same dimensions as you're seeing, and but you will see it often on the 100-yard football field. So really, like you said earlier, that 10-yard line being the end zone, and that could throw you off right there. The 14-yard line where you're trying to spot the ball to start a drive is really the 24.
Yeah.
So you're doing a little bit of mental math throughout the game sometimes on some fields.
Yeah, that's not my strong point. All right. So the footballs. Basically, the easiest way I'm describing this for the footballs is my son just graduated out of his middle school, so his 14U level. Basically, what they're going to be using is a TDY. So it's basically the youth size football for the girls' flag football this season. So it's one notch lower than your typical Friday Night Lights game. So the easiest way, it's Wilson TDY is probably the most prevalent company that's out there with it, but not trying to promote Wilson whatsoever. I have no association with them, but that seems to be the most common football that's being used.
Yeah, we're seeing a similar thing, and just like the high school game, we're marking the balls before they start. They'll usually start the game with up to 5 footballs before they get rolling. Um, but I've got the circumference and such here. I don't have the ball size off the top of my head, though.
I love the circumference. 26 to 27 inches is what we're going with. When's the last time you've taken a tape measure out to the field and measured that football?
No, never. We're really looking for the inflation, right? We're the same, 26.25 in the college game, but you see all kinds of footballs, especially at the youth level, right?
Yeah.
And as long as the kids are just playing and not trying to pull one over on the other, there's no worries about them.
Yeah, I really don't care too much about the inflation. I shouldn't be saying this out loud too often. Other than the kicking ball, making sure that the kicking ball is not completely like the ball from the 1920s. That's just a slick piece of rubber and it's blown up like a balloon or has helium in it, which I don't know how the heck I'll ever figure that one out. But yeah, I'm looking for a football. making sure it's got the NFHS stamp on it and that it's approved, and we're going from there.
And we're just, I mean, we're hitting all the safety things that are key. Obviously, we don't want a football that's sticky, right? But we're hitting the same things across most leagues, right? No pockets, no jewelry. Make sure you got your mouth guards. Some leagues are wearing these headbands that are padded.
Yep.
So everybody's got a little bit of different here and there, but we're obviously checking safety before we get rolling.
Are teams mudding up the football like they do for the boys game in the fall?
I've seen them mostly new footballs for the most part. I haven't seen anything sticky tack yet by any means.
Yeah. Which just I don't truly get the mudding, and I coached for so many years because 99% of the kids are wearing gloves anyway. So what grip is it actually getting for them? Maybe the quarterback, I don't know, but quarterbacks are prima donnas.
For sure.
So you can see here, effective 2028, the ball for the girls and boys flag football competitions for the ninth grade and above shall have the NFHS authentication marking on it. So starting in 2028. So we still got a couple of years for that. And again, this is because the newness of this sport, and well, everybody's got to go out and buy new footballs now. So, and last time I checked, those Wilson TDYs ran about $80 each, and for the regular, I don't even know what Wilson, it's not TDY, the boys game, the fall game, I should say, they're about $100 and $110 a ball. So another expense. All right, so you were just mentioning this about player equipment. Again, players shall wear players on the visiting team are supposed to wear white. All players on the home team should have the same dark colors on. The numbering 0 through 99, and a single tooth and mouth protector is required. One thing, and I talked about this on my previous episode, is the numbering doesn't mean anything for us. So that's dandy because anybody is eligible. So it doesn't matter what number they're wearing. If they want to be 56 and be old school Lawrence Taylor, I'm a Giants fan, go for it. Be Lawrence Taylor, go out and catch your pass, and whatever it may be. So there's no worries about numbering or numbering exceptions or anything like that. So that's marvelous.
It really is. Trying to count that in high school is not an easy feat.
No. All right. And next couple slides here are just the adornments that are going on the mouthpieces. This one we kind of put in play. Was it last year that we started, or this past football season that they started doing it? So no added attachments to it, no spinners, no baby binkies, nothing like that. Just your standard mouth guard. Now it was amazing because originally when these mouth guards that I'm showing here came out, the ones that have the tiger teeth on it or the lion's face, well, they were making those illegal, that the kids couldn't wear them because, it was intimidating the other kids. If that's what's going on, don't play football. If you're getting intimidated by a mouth guard, don't play football. But play football. It's just a mouth guard. It's there to protect you. So all these ones here that have the images on it, unless it is something that is derogatory, something that is racial, religious, something like that, just go get a mouth guard and play football. Doesn't have to be blinged out anymore. All right, so Kurt, I'll let you take this one. You were mentioning this before with the player equipment.
Yeah, the player equipment, obviously pants and shorts, different sports, for skirts, sure, but the flag of the belt, if it's not contrasting to the shorts, it can be difficult for players to see and officials to see. We might still see the tail of the belt rather than the flags that are attached to it. If they're not a solid separate color from the shorts, we'll just annotate it at the end of the game and make sure that they start squaring that away in the future. That way, there's no advantage gained from camouflaging belts and shorts, things like that.
Yep. And I know in my phys ed class, the belts typically don't stay where they're supposed to be on the hips and on the tailbone. Sometimes they're sliding to the front where nobody typically wants to start reaching and grabbing for. But I know that the belts that they're coming out with are either single, single meaning that they're flag is attached wholly to the belt, so that flag's not going to move. The whole belt's going to come off, or the flag itself is kind of stitched in with a Velcro, so but it's not sliding as some of them were. And again, this year, New Jersey, or at least my area, are allowing for the 2 belts, but eventually it's going to be the 3 belts or flags. I shouldn't say belts, flags. All right, so here we just got some basic ones. Arm sleeves, not a big deal. The soft headwear that you mentioned before, Guardian Cap puts out one. My son actually did a 7-on-7 league last year in 7th grade. And some of the, even though it was non-contact, it was 2-hand touch. Some tournaments required a soft shell helmet. But again, they got the headband style ones now, and these are all things that are protective because although it is a non-contact sport, you've got athletes running around full speed trying to make a play on a little brown ball. Collisions occur, typically accidentally, but they do occur. So one that we typically don't have to deal with that much on Fridays is the headbands and the hair ties and things like that. So they want to make it as safe as possible. So nothing that is added. So no beads, no barrettes, no bobby pins. Do they still call them bobby pins? I don't even know.
My little girl calls them bobbies. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So I thought I was aging myself.
No, you got it.
But yeah, so anything that's not going to possibly put themselves at risk or opponents at risk. So, and then again, the same thing that we're dealing with in the boys' game is the gloves. And you can see all the nice gloves here. So they're all good as long as they have that Noxie and all those other things. So this one, the patellar tendon straps, they are good. Which the one on the left is just, well, it's the tape. It's the under tape. Pre-wrap. Goodness, I'm losing my mind. It's just pre-wrap. That one just literally looks like pre-wrap. And I know in October, all the boys have pink pre-wrap all over their arms and their bodies. Yep. And then they've got the rubber bands because they want to all look like the Ultimate Warrior and stuff like that. So those are not okay. What you're saying here, if it's for the patellar, it's okay. Now, am I going to go up to a girl and tell her that she does not have patellar tendonitis or anything like that? No, I am not a doctor. So if I see it wrapped around the knee, I'm going to say, okay, hopefully your knee feels better, and I'm going to move on from there. But if I see it all adorned on their body, I'm going to, that's a little bit fishy. And Kurt, I don't know if you saw, NCAA on the boys' side is trying to really, really crack down on the knee pads.
They are. I saw that. I saw that as well. I don't know how they're going to enforce it because it's become such a fashion statement.
Yeah, no longer going to have the pantsless kicker for Oklahoma. Yeah, Daniel, I'm talking about you and your guys.
Love it.
So illegal player equipment. So if you want to take this one of what they can and can't do.
It looks like any uniform adornments. So we talked about that a little bit at the mouth guards earlier, but sweatbands, we had the thing in high school where they can't wear any wristbands unless it's a play call wristband. And even then it can't be around the belt. Yep. One of the big ones is obviously they can't use audio microphones. That's from sideline or from player to coach. Coaches are starting to get allowed in some leagues to have them to be able to talk to each other, but not to players on the field. Of course, there's some exceptions for disabilities, but we're big on the eye shade. You don't need it unless it's one straight line. And then sometimes there's different rules you'll see in flag for sunglasses. Obviously, no jewelry, no earrings, all that's going to come off. You have exceptions for medical or religious adornment. But the sunglasses, you'll have to look at your specific leagues as to what is or isn't allowed, whether they're lightweight, no metal, prescription only. Everyone's got a little bit different on that board.
Yeah. So how is the NCAA working with that one? Is sunglasses allowed, or because I know a lot of these games are being played at 3:45, 4 o'clock, as opposed to the Friday Night Lights type of scenario. So they are allowing the sunglasses.
They are non-mirrored
Okay.
For now, so you don't get the advantage of hiding your eyes. But that's the main rule there. And then we're looking to make sure that they're shatterproof, that they're not dangerous in any manner. They're usually these no name, right? Or you can go Nike or Under Armour, but they're usually lightweight plastic.
Now, do they have to have the band around the head so that they don't fall off?
Well, I'll have to look into that. I don't know for certain, and I'm sure everybody's going to have it a little bit different. But the ones that I've seen, you'll see in the NFL flag football levels, where they are a bit tighter on the back and they wrap around a bit more, not necessarily fully around, but I wonder if there are rules against a strap around the head also, which could get caught on something.
True. Very true. All right. And then again, we got the flag here, and we've kind of talked about this one a couple times, so we can go through this one. But a flag inspection is the act of a teammate removing the flag or flag belt from a scoring player in order to show that the flag belt has not been altered. So an official can ask a teammate to go and pull the flag off of somebody that scored, just to kind of double check that, okay, it's not an illegal flag. It's not sewed on, that somebody can't pull it off, or the belt's not going to come off. Listen, you got people corking baseball bats. So, I mean, when it comes, and we talked about some people are getting scholarships, people are going to walk that thin line to see what they can kind of get away with. So, we do have the right as officials to ask them to do that. All right. So, our timing. So, what I've been told right now is here in New Jersey, we are going to be running quarters, and it is a running clock with the exception of the final 2 minutes. So first period is a 12-minute running clock. There's then an intermission between periods, switch sides. So everything is kind of standard with that. We've got a 5 to a 20-minute halftime, and then we're back out for the third and then fourth quarter. So everything is going to be pretty standard in that aspect, except for it is, again, this year in New Jersey, it is a running clock until under 2 minutes, and then we start bringing in all of the plays that, if you've been officiating in the fall, what stops the clock, what keeps the clock going, it's kind of going to stay standard to that, but it's now under that 2 minute mark. How is it with the collegiate level?
Very similar. We do have the ZAP 10 under 2 minutes in the second and fourth penalty or a play that stops the clock. We can do 10-second runoff. Teams can call timeout and save that time. Okay. But largely, it's very similar. We've got 15-minute clocks. And some of the scores can really get up there right now because there is no, I'll call it slaughter rule, high point score.
The mercy rule and the lopsided rule. Yep. And that's another state adaptation. So in New Jersey, we do have that one. So,
and I think it's important because you got to keep the parity between some of these teams for sure, too.
Yeah. And with the timeout scenario, we got 2 timeouts per half, not 3. I don't know why that's different, because especially with a running clock, people might be a little more cognizant with needing the timeouts. But if the clock is stopping under the 2 minutes, maybe that's the reason. I'm not sure the rationale, to be quite honest with you, but that we're going with 2 timeouts right now.
Do you all stop the clock at 2 minutes? Sorry, Mike. Do you stop at 2 minute warning?
There is a 2 minute warning. I guess it's an unofficial. So like what we do here with our sub varsity games where we don't have a scoreboard clock is we have the 4 minute warning. So it would probably be the same thing. So at or just under 2 minutes, they'll stop the clock and give them a 2 minute warning. So I guess that would be the third timeout in essence, because they're not winding it right after that. So it's a true stoppage of the clock. Regardless of what is going on. Yep. So it's going to be back on the snap.
We've seen, one of the great things we've seen as officials is using that time for ourselves, Mike. So we're so used to that running the clock for the first 13 minutes for us, math in public, right? 10 minutes for you all in the second and fourth. Use that time to get together with your white hat and say, all right, real quick, here's when we're stopping it. Here's when we're starting it. Let's get each other's signals. Give me inbounds, out of bounds. It's a quick rundown, and rather than, you'll see some guys do the 2-minute warning. Teams are usually ready to play. Tell them to go take their, whatever your timeout is, 60 seconds, and then bring them back on the field. We've seen a huge win for us going over those things.
That's a great tip. I like that because it definitely does help. And now, are you guys using O to O?
Yes, we have O to O, and we utilized it throughout. But those quick conferences, obviously, right there, are wonderful just to pull each other in. We're not that far from each other, you know.
But the back judge can still be a little bit lost back there at times. Get some girls that are slinging the ball. So,
absolutely.
All right. So again, dead ball. This is going to be again minus Sands at 2 minutes. So runner out of bounds. It's pretty standard across the board with what we're doing and stopping the clock. So again, if this happens in the first 3 minutes of the game, mechanically, you're probably going to see me put my hands up and wave it just because of mechanics that I'm going to do it. But technically, the clock operator is going to just keep that clock winding. So even when we do get into our lopsided games on the fall games, we're told and we remind each other as a crew, do your mechanics, but we radio up to the clock operator, spit, score, penalty, injury, timeout. The only time you're stopping that clock, PITS, I know different acronyms for it. But we're doing our same mechanics because we don't want to mess up in our mechanics when it does come back. So, but yeah, you got the same things that are going on here. So this is a dead ball and end of down, rule 4-2. We're going to roll with it. All right. You want to take series of downs?
Article 1, the team which next puts the ball in play by a scrimmage to start the game or half following a try or touchback is awarded a series of 4 consecutively numbered downs to advance the ball to the zone line to gain. Each awarded first down starts a new series, 4 consecutively numbered downs. But the difference here is the line to gain. So you'll see the really experienced players and teams, if they are about to approach the 40-yard line midfield and get their first down, they might go out of bounds right across the 40 at the 39-yard line.
Okay.
Or come up short to specifically make a shorter play. You'll see, for example, a team, let's say they caught a punt at the 21, and that's where they're going to start their drive. They might intentionally snap the ball before the referees are even ready, which is a foul. But technically, if they did that, they would move themselves back to the 16 to give themselves first and technically 4 yards. Obviously, B can decline that, but you're going to see these things from smart teams to try to shorten the field on certain downs. And so we've got to be privy to seeing those things through videos, plays, and how much film do we have to watch right now, right? So teaching each other, telling these stories are what our experience can be.
So that's a really interesting point that you brought up there, because I would have just assumed that if the ready for play had blown, it would be first and in essence 24 or whatever the math was in that scenario, as opposed to first and 4 where you're going back that 5 yards on it. So that's an interesting one. And yeah, that's definitely something we got to keep an eye on for.
And you're absolutely right. It all depends on if it's before the line to gain was set. So
Okay.
if you're correct. So like the white hat puts the ball down, ready for play, any penalty then, like you said, yes, first and 24. But sometimes they'll try to do these quirky things to try to Bill Belichick the game. And as Daniel would say, right? Weaponize the rule book.
Yeah. Yep.
They'll
100%.
try it. And so we got to know it.
That's good. That's a good one to know. I like that. So talking about the zone to gain, and as you just mentioned, the zone to gain is going to be the next 20 or 40-yard line at advance for where the ball's foremost point is when a new series of downs awarded. And this one's interesting going back to, because the start of our series after a score is going to be at the 14-yard line. So basically you've got first and 6 from there. So if you get a long gain to what would be the equivalent of the 39, they go out of bounds before that 40, where now you got, well, no, that would still get them a first down. My bad. Um,
Yes, but it would be 1st and 1
it would be
if
first
they
and
were at the
one.
39.
Yeah. Yep.
And
That's
so
right.
you'll see them do that.
And then they're probably going deep for the next ones. They're probably
That's
taking a
correct.
shot to the end zone because they know that they can get the first down on third or fourth down if needed. So
You got it.
little trickeration in those plays too. Okay, so as we talked about before, formations, positioning and number, and action at the snap. So I'll let you take this one here with the ready for play.
And so I think what we're getting on this one is no formations, as you talked about before. We do need somebody on the line of scrimmage to snap the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Each league is going to have a little bit different rules, whether it has to be between the legs or not. And then the snap in some of our leagues, or at least in colleges, has to be to somebody 2 yards behind the ball.
Yep.
That's just to make sure you don't snap it and hand it to the person right next to you.
Yeah.
And then obviously legal snaps, no double clutching. Your feet have to be behind the ball. And then no advantage gain from any sort of false start, which is a dead ball penalty.
Now, with the NFHS rules, the defense must line up at least a yard back. So it's basically a yard wide neutral zone. Is it the same with the collegiate level?
You'll have the line of scrimmage, which is where the ball is, and you actually have about 2 yards, which is the neutral zone.
Okay.
On a punt, you've got the extended neutral zone.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's no blocking on a punt, well, sorry, there's blocking, but there's no rushing until it's kicked by either offense or defense. And so, and each league different and does it differently, right?
Yeah.
The youth waits until the ball is past the line of scrimmage. And so you can have some quirky plays from all of that for sure, too.
All right. So that's leading us now what we were just talking about, the scrimmage kicks. So K must, like we talked about, must declare that they are kicking. So there is no takebacks, there's no fake punts, there's nothing like that. But they can, in essence, undeclare if there was a charged timeout, an official's timeout, the period ends, or a penalty was enforced. So if it's 4th and 6 and the defense jumps off sides, which why they're even near the line of scrimmage is beyond me. And now you get 4th and 1 because you got that 5-yard penalty. Well, now they can change their mind and go for it, but they can't line up to kick the ball and then throw it. So you have to declare it and you have to stick with it. Defense must be in NFHS must be a minimum of 2 yards away from the ball because there is no rush on the kicker, and the kicker must be at least 2 yards from deeper than the snapper, the center. So actually, let me refer. I think it's 5 yards on the defensive side, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And I've been seeing teams that their girls are all deep, waiting to receive the punt. So there's no sense of even having them up close to the line of scrimmage because it's without being able to get hands on for a block, it makes that screen block that much more difficult when there's still 20 yards behind you that they have to cover. So they're trying to shorten that and then also possibly catch a short kick. But here's one that I know many people were confused about it here in New Jersey. Any receiver may catch or recover the scrimmage kick in the field of play and advance. So anybody on R can pick the ball up off the ground and go. And that's one that people think, oh, the ball hits the ground, it's dead. No, that's on a fumble. That's on a backward pass. On a kick, you can pick it up and go. So everybody needs to understand that. And if nobody is going to touch it, just like our regular scrimmage kick, we're going to wait till the ball comes to stop, and then we're going to blow it dead from there if we have to. And when the punt crosses the neutral zone, touches a player from either team, and then hits the ground, the ball is dead at that point in time. So any muff, ball's going to be dead right then and there. So there's not a true muff like we have where the kicking team can recover the ball. If it hits anybody from R or K beyond the neutral zone, the play is dead.
So even if it goes off of the returner, muffed into the air, it's dead in NFHS?
To my knowledge, yeah. To
So
my knowledge.
in college, what they're allowing to do is we do have fumbles in the game of college. If it's fumbled up in the air and it doesn't hit the ground, as long as somebody gets it before it hits the ground, it's live. So same thing on a punt. If it's punted up in the air, the girls are allowed to fair catch.
Yes.
If they fair catch, people ask themselves, well, nobody's going to hit them. So why are they fair catching? Mike, the reason for fair catch in college is if they fair catch, it hits them, bounces up, they're allowed that protection from the defender to catch their muff. If they didn't ask for the fair catch, then K, or really P, if you want to call them punter, anybody on kicking team can grab that ball out of the air without a kick catch interference. So subtle difference there for us too. The reason for fair catch is just that.
Well, I went back on this slide here, and it's 6-1 Article 5, and it specifies that the ball is crossed the neutral zone from either team and then hits the ground. So I'm going to backtrack on what I initially said, that if the ball doesn't hit the ground, so if it hits off of R's shoulder and pops straight up in the air and K catches it, it's probably going to be K's ball in that scenario by what this states. Now, I haven't gone to our state's rules interpretation meeting yet. It's coming up in the next couple of days, but that's one that I definitely want to bring up to get clarity on that one, because that's a scenario that could happen. And I like what college is doing with that.
Yeah, and you'll see, like you said too, though, when that ball is tipped accidentally or purposefully, let's say R tries to catch it and it goes straight down. Yeah, now it's dead. Ball is not live in that scenario on a kick because somebody touched it before it hit the ground.
So here we go. Article 6. Next slide. I forgot to read my note. When a punt that has crossed the neutral zone and not yet touched the ground touches a player from R and then is caught by K, it is dead and belongs to K at that spot. So there we go. Don't need my interpretation meeting. Woo! All right.
Go.
Still got to go to that interpretation meeting.
There we go.
And actually, before we move on, I got a couple of videos that I want to go over with a free scrimmage kick, and let me get it to share to, well, I got to stop sharing this. There we go. And it comes to this, go bing, bang, boom. So this is a scrimmage kick. This is in Tennessee. And when I first watched this video, I thought the girl was down holding it like an extra point, but she's actually the snapper. So she takes it and snaps it back to the punter. That's a good 5 to 6 yards back. But here's what I'm talking about with the R team all the way back here to the right. They're a solid 5, 10, 15, 20. They're 25 yards deep is where their front line is on this play. So, and this girl gets a hold of it though. There's the snap, kick. The front yard line gets it. And now we got our return and the flag pulled. So just one of the quick ones there. I think this one's also a free kick. Nope, that's not one. I'm going to come back to that one. Oh, you could hear somebody calling for their mama. This one here is a play where I want you to take notice. I kind of went through this quickly before. The young lady sticks the ball out because we are going with the foremost tip of the ball for the spot, and the official does a very good job on this one here.
Sure does.
And talking with the guest that I'm having on the week before you, he actually told me that he teaches his girls not to hold it high and tight, because high and tight actually is a detriment to them, where if they've got long arms, they can get an extra yard out of that and reach for that first down possibly, because the danger is not there. The high and tight is not necessarily needed because there's no fumble at the high school level. So the fumble, if that ball right there and that screenshot that I've got frozen, if that ball were to get swatted out of her hand and hits the ground, well, that's where the play ends. So,
and Mike, in some leagues, if the quarterback has the ball in their hand and you hit the ball while it's in the quarterback's hand, that's illegal contact because the ball is part of the quarterback in some leagues.
Okay.
So you'll see subtleties across all of these leagues, but you're right. And the other advantage of holding the ball out too is you're not going to accidentally flag guard, because you can flag guard with a ball. Correct. And your shoulder and your elbow. So keep it up, point it out, get those yards.
Yep, and that's exactly what he said, and he's actually teaching them almost like they're an option quarterback, where they got the ball up front
That's right.
in the front of their body, up high, so then they can extend if needed. Um, and again, you're preventing that flag guard type of scenario. I got one more that I want to show here because we're talking about the fumble aspect, and here you got a young lady with a pass. It's completed, and then the ball gets smacked out of her hand. We got a first down. So, oh, let me go back to that one. So the scenario is fourth down. You'll see the down marker here on the bottom of the screen. It's fourth and give or take 15 in this scenario. And the team in blue, again, this is Florida, I think here. Team in blue is going for it. They didn't declare for a punt. Girl makes a great throw, and you can see she's already in the first down territory. Completes, makes the catch right here. Oh, it keeps on jumping back on me. And then the ball gets smacked out of her hand. So this official ruled that it was a catch, because right there you'd have the first conversation. Was it incomplete or was it a catch? He ruled that it was a catch, and there's no fumble. So they're getting the ball first down right at the spot of that fumble. All right. Let's go back to the presentation. So now scoring. So here we go. You can see our standard scoring from across the board for basically every type of football. You're going to get 6 points for a touchdown. You're going to get 2 points for a safety. Right now, here in New Jersey, we're not doing field goals, but they are allowed in some states. And again, that's a state adaptation. You're going to get 3 points for that. Now we have our extra points. And again, we talked about the line markings that are on the field. If you go from the 3 yard line, you're going to get 1 point. If you're going from the 10 yard line, you're going to get 2 points. So that's a pretty easy one. And again, the game's going to dictate what the team's going to do. Some teams are always going to go from the 10 yard line. Some teams are always going to roll the dice and say that they're going to get the 2 points at that point. And again, going back to the coaching days, sometimes being on the 3 yard line and only having the 13 yards to work with, as opposed to having 20 yards to work with, makes it a little bit tougher. So some people might want to stick at the 10 yard line, but again, 10 for 2, 3 for 1. Same with you guys.
It is. I'm looking at safety as 2 points. In college, they're allowing them to return a try.
Okay.
And so they can get points off of that too. The only time they can't return an interception is on an onside, and we can get into that drama if you'd like to eventually too.
Oof. That's tough.
Yeah. So that's one that will kill dead right away.
Okay.
On an interception, a turnover, on a onside try.
Whew. Onside try.
It's pretty simple, Mike. They declare, I think it's only in the last 2 minutes if they're down by a certain amount too. So they have to be losing. They just start from the 20 and they got to get to the 40. Neither A nor B can score. And let's say they do score, we just bring it right back to the 40, and A would get to start their drive from the 40. If B stops them or intercepts it, they're going to start at the 40. So it's really just, did you get 20 yards? If you did, you get your onside conversion, and now you've got a chance to go to get some points. It's pretty interesting. NAIA does a similar version.
The onside kick is an offensive play?
Yes, it is not a kick.
I love that. We had that in a state all-star game. We have New Jersey has a north-south all-star game every year, and that was the rule that they did for the all-star game. I want to say it was a little bit quirkier. It was like 4th and 15 it was 4th and 12. It was 4th and 12 from the 38-yard line. So K's 38-yard line, as opposed to being from kicking off from the 40-yard line, you were back at the 38. And if you gained that 12 yards, you had 1st and 10 from whatever you gained. So if you gained 20 yards, you were gaining 20 yards. If you scored a touchdown, you got a touchdown. But if the defense stopped you, they were going to take over from that spot. So if it was an incomplete pass, they were getting the ball at the plus 38. If they stopped them a yard short, they were getting the ball at the 49-yard line as opposed to the 50. So I loved that. I thought that was a great nuance change for the game, and the way that things are going with kickoffs and kicking game. I can see something like that coming down the road for the fall sport.
I hope we find out what is best and unify. I think I think flag football will continue to take off if we continue to unify things. If we keep making too many different rules across leagues, you're going to have officials who are going to call it wrong, and people will continue to say that officials aren't dedicating themselves. I think, Mike, it's not a matter of dedicating themselves, just trying to learn the different rule books that we have throughout.
Yep.
And it makes it not easy.
And you got the boys and girls lacrosse game in there too. And God bless you with that, because those are two completely different games. The only thing, again, that's similar with that is that they're using a ball, which is typically a different color too.
That's true.
All right, so we got two more slides that I want to tackle. We're going to hold off on
Sure.
the overtime. I want to talk about some of the probably more prevalent penalties that we're going to have in the game, and the first one is going to be blocking. Blocking is legal. It is okay. You can block as long as it is a screen block, and I got a couple of different clips that I'm going to show of that. But to clarify now, assuming the legal position, the screen blocker may move to maintain their legal position by moving in the same direction or path as the opponent. Screen blocking shall take place without initiating contact during the process, and the screen blocker shall not extend their arms, use their hands, arms, elbows, or legs to make contact. And the penalty for that is going to be a 10-yard penalty. Now, Kurt, enforcement penalty, is that going to be from the spot of the foul, or is that going to be from the previous spot?
Every scenario is different, right? It depends on whether it was during a loose ball play and running play also.
Yep. So on a pass play, quarterback drops back, and the running back, because I'm seeing this as being kind of standard, that the running back is staying into block, and they set an illegal block 4 yards behind the previous spot. Ball's complete, 10 yards downfield. Foul happened behind the original line of scrimmage. Are we going back to the previous line of scrimmage to enforce that one?
Yeah, we're going to the previous spot. We're not going to double penalize the offense and take them way back.
Yeah, so that's kind of staying status quo in that aspect of the change that they did. And let me share my video here of some good blocking that we got going on. So this one, I want to pause it here. So you're going to see a play that's going to go to the top of the screen. It's third down. And again, we're on a turf field here, so the 50 is the yard line to gain here. So third down and give or take 4 yards here. And they're going to do kind of like a jet sweep action here. So you can see the motion coming across. Straight across, hands it off. And now the young lady up top does an excellent job. In my opinion, does an excellent job. Right. I want to kind of pause it. She stops. She freezes. She crosses her arms in front of her body, and she just holds her ground. So she basically sets a basketball pick, and she forces the defender to go around her. Now, looking downfield a little bit more, that one's a little bit more meh.
I'm with you. At the 38-yard line, that they were moving forward.
Correct. And that's why I'm like, because she's kind of initiating contact, but I'm going to give the official the benefit of the doubt, because the girl gets the flag pulled at about what looks like to be the 48 on the turf field. I'm sorry, the 44 on the turf field. So it's kind of happening right when the tackle is happening is when the illegal block, in my opinion, would be happening. But if she didn't get that flag pulled back here and continued to run, I think we would have had an illegal screen going on up there.
Yeah.
So we get that one.
We hear the coaches teach their players, hey, if you're going to screen block, just don't move in the opposite direction of B. So if B is running at the quarterback, move backwards with them and you're okay.
So this is one that I had earlier with the girl extending the ball, but I want you to know. So in this scenario here, the running back is basically the primary blocker. So she's about 3 or 4 yards deep, and she's already lining up with her hands behind her back. So the center is going to snap the ball. That center is eligible to go out. Everybody is eligible to go out and get the pass, but she's going to stay in and be the primary blocker. And right there, she's just kind of doing the old school mirror drill with her. She's just shuffling her feet, staying in front. She forces the defender to go one way, and the quarterback's able to step up and go the opposite direction. So I got nothing on that one. I think that one's a good block there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be one that, again, when you're talking about the high speed of this game, because you've got very athletic girls that are going out there running around. It's difficult. It's one that's going to be difficult, and that's where your fourth set of eyes definitely would come into play. So if you got that fourth official, mechanics wise, and where your focal point is going to be a little bit different here and there for everybody. All right, so the last one here is illegal use of the hands, Rule 9-2. And the basic sense, and probably the most common one, is going to be your flag guarding. So the use of hands, arms, or the ball where contact occurs between the runner and the opponent that denies the opportunity for the opponent to pull the flag, okay, or the flag belt, is flag guarding. So that one is probably the most common offensive one, second to the illegal block. And I do have one of these that I want to show. All right, so you're going to see on this one here, Kurt. We lost Kurt's video, but I could still hear him in the background. You still there?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. I think we're good. Sorry.
All right. No, all good. Just want to make sure we still talk. So again, you got a young lady. This is actually the center. Oh, I'm sorry. No, a little shallow cross, really shallow. But you could see her kind of do one little swipe. She's got the ball high and tight in her right arm, and that left arm is kind of warding off defenders right there. And you kind of, yep, you see that little stiff arm going. So, did she do it on purpose? Probably not. Is it illegal? Yes, it is. It's just it's a habit. It's a thing that you're just trying
Natural.
you're trying to fend somebody off. But the official, and you can see the official, he's waving, so he's given the NFHS rule, which is basically swatting that fly away from your hip. So that's kind of the signal for it, and that's going to be a 10-yard foul. So this one is a 10-yard spot foul because it happened beyond the line of scrimmage. So they're going to go from that spot and move it back 10 yards from there. So anything else to add with the flag guarding? Because I'm sure you're seeing it at a higher rate too.
And they'll throw some loss of downs to it also, depending on leagues. And they're really trying to, one of the points of emphasis for many of the leagues that I've been calling for is no contact, right? Get those illegal blocks out of there, get the DPI and the illegal hands. They want them out of the game because they want the game of flag football is finesse. Mm-hmm. It's not contact. So they want to see the athletes.
Yep. Well, that's all I got tonight. Anything else to add that's a difference with the college game to the high school game?
Gosh, there's a plethora.
I'm sure.
But I think they do a good job of being very similar.
Okay.
I will gather some other notes and push them your way. Happy to talk about them some other times as well. And there's just so much that I really hope that the sport unifies because this is a really great game. And I appreciate you giving me the time to talk about it. I'm passionate about it, and so are the players. And I just want to see it grow as it continues to do.
Yeah. And that's one thing that the guest last week, Coach Tierney, said it's not powder puff. This is football. This is
Yes,
football. It's a different level of football. It's a different skill set of football, but it's still football. So it's high level. It's intense. It's competitive, and it's great. I love seeing it. Love uh, helping our sport grow on every which way and direction that it's going to go. But it's still football at its core. So
absolutely. It's fun to watch, fun to be a part of, and I can't wait to do it more.
very nice. So, what do you got going on this weekend, game wise? How many games you working this weekend?
I have to jump into all kinds of stuff with work, with all the politics that are going around the world. But we are doing a fun run with my kiddo, do some St. Patrick's Day stuff. And then I have a semi-pro on Saturday evening.
Nice,
So that'll be a lot of fun too.
good
They're
stuff.
wild and reckless out there.
I can only imagine because I've done some semi pro on the men's side, and
Yeah.
woo, I
There are
lived and
rules,
learned.
but not all rules.
Yeah, it's like
Great.
it's like the prison game of football on the guy's side. It seems.
Sure. Sure.
Well, Kurt, once again, truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. Once again, also thank you for everything that you do for us and for the country, and still being active with what we got going on in this world right now. I'm sure it's a little chaotic, so thank you again for that. Thank you for taking the time to come on tonight and for talking football for an hour of our lives, and kind of putting the rest of the stuff on the back burner for an hour, which is awesome.
I truly appreciate it. Thanks to everyone out there. Mike, thank you so much for doing this for us. We learned so much from you and all the crew that comes on. So keep it going. I love it.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Kurt. Have a